And, for someone that actually enjoyed corporate life at the time, you kind of define your creativity within those constructs.
Welcome to Female Founder Unplugged, the show where we cut through the noise and have a real, raw conversation about what it takes to build and scale a successful business as a female entrepreneur. I'm Lindsay White, people strategy expert, leadership coach, and fellow founder. And I know firsthand the challenges of scaling sustainably and staying connected to your passion along the way. This podcast is for ambitious women just like you, seasoned founders and CEOs navigating the challenges of leadership, team building, and sustainable growth. In each episode, we'll dive into those topics that are most important to you as a female founder. You'll hear honest, no BS conversations about building, growing, and leading a team and culture so that you can grow without losing yourself in the process. Because let's be real, entrepreneurship can feel isolating, and leadership doesn't come with a roadmap. If you've ever struggled with the pressure of running a business, felt overwhelmed by growing your team, or wondered, how do I scale without sacrificing my vision and my purpose, you're in the right place. Let's get unplugged. Hey friends, welcome back to Female Founder Unplugged. So glad to have you here today. And I have my friend Elizabeth Eiss here, and I'm super excited. We've met previously and we had such a fabulous conversation that I knew I wanted to have her as a guest here on the show so that we could share that chat with all of you. And I'm really looking forward to this today. So Elizabeth, thank you for being here and for being a guest.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I love the name of your podcast, High Voltage Leadership, and that really speaks to me. So I'm really honored to be a guest today.
Well, I'm so glad. High voltage is a part of my life purpose statement. It's a part of who I am, not just what I do. So I really appreciate when people tell me that that's resonant, because that is, that's about me, right? So thank you for that. I mean, maybe as we get started, tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to start in an unusual way. And you were talking about that high voltage leadership really speaks to your purpose. And my purpose is to empower purpose. That's really, so I like the idea of voltage and power because ultimately, and I'll tell my story in a second, I'm really all about enabling others to achieve their purpose in life, their mission in life. So the short story about me is I spent years in corporate America, actually running very large insurance businesses in commercial lines, which was a fascinating way to start a career, because you learn so much about what makes a successful business profitable and not have losses, and what makes a business have losses. It's inevitably around operations and management, leadership, that kind of thing. Right. But 24 years ago, I up and joined a tech startup after many years as an insurance exec. And that was a really amazing experience. And it did not succeed for a variety of reasons, which many startups don't. But it launched me into entrepreneurship. And I knew I did not want to go back into corporate America. And my first, roles in as a consultant. And that's really when the light bulb went off about freelance talent.
Yeah.
And this was in the early 210, having trouble getting that out. But during that time, I was consulting and I would need a freelancer to help me round out my offer. Yeah. And I discovered that freelancers really were amazing specialists, the right ones.
Yeah.
They weren't people that couldn't get real jobs. They had real jobs delivering their expertise. And so I became an early proponent of freelance talent. And what happened was a really interesting thing. My clients started asking me to find them freelancers based on the quality of the ones that were on my team.
Nice.
And so initially it was really informal. And then I realized, due to the number of people asking, that there was really something here. I was able to find freelancers because of a systematic approach to it.
Right.
That people who were hiring occasionally just didn't have that formula.
Right.
And so I basically decided to help solopreneurs and small employers hire vetted virtual freelancers that I found and vetted for them. And so that's really what caused me to form results resourcing, because I want to resource the results of small businesses so they can have more impact. And I do that by helping to match them with vetted virtual freelance teams.
Yeah.
So small groups of preformed teams that can perform a lot of amazing services. So small businesses can outsource the back office and be more productive.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I think, I mean, as someone who has worked as, a business owner, but a consultant now for 6-7 years, for some of us, we quite sincerely don't want to work in a corporate environment. We are not interested in that. We want to work on really cool, innovative things with really cool, innovative people. And sometimes you don't find that in a corporate job. You get told what to do and what projects instead of being invited and doing things that you're really passionate about.
Yeah, it's so true. And, for someone that actually enjoyed corporate life at the time, you kind of define your creativity within those constructs. Yeah. And when entrepreneurship's not for everybody, because there's no safety net.
No.
And, you're your own boss, and you've got to learn how to manage yourself and your business. And it's a whole different ballgame. But at the same time, there's the freedom to choose what you want to do, what you want to work on, who you want to work with. Yeah. And I think that, unfortunately, when companies get bigger, it just by necessity, it has to be more structure and more hierarchy. And, I can't think of a big company that didn't lose some of its entrepreneurial spirit simply because of the scale.
It is true. An organization reaches a certain level of size and complexity. And you're right. The entrepreneurial bits do kind of leach out along the way, don't they? And so many of us, and the women that listen to this podcast, it's the same. We've often had that corporate career, and we've left for a variety of reasons. And some of them is, I don't actually get to do the work I really love to do anymore. I'm really skilled and talented. I'm tired of having somebody tell me what to do. I'm going to go take my skills and experience to start my own business. Yeah. So I can do the stuff that I love and I'm really passionate about.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, but I didn't realize it until I had left corporate America, but I realized that part of my success was I was an entrepreneur. So I would think of entrepreneurially about whatever project or, branch or line of business that I was responsible for. And that, led to some of my, breakthroughs, in those roles. But, there's nothing quite like entrepreneurship, to be master of your own destiny.
There's something really thrilling about it. And I do think, for many of us, again, we have been that entrepreneur, and there are organizations where that's celebrated and other organizations where that's really denigrated. You actually get, to some degree, penalized because you're not following the rules, you're not following the process. You have people that are blocking perhaps in the hierarchy. And again, I think that that's part of why people leave, because they want to be excited about the work they do and who they get to work with.
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, and it's like, walking across the Grand Canyon on a wire, and there's no safety, there's no net. So you better do there's something highly motivational about not failing, right? Like at the very least. I love it. I love that. Okay. So I'm really curious, because you put these really great teams together. What's the secret sauce here, Elizabeth?
Well, at the end of the day, I think having a common experience as an entrepreneur is very helpful, because I can stand in the shoes of the people I want to serve. But frankly, my corporate background was really useful too.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I basically ran operations for very large businesses, and I learned to be a systematic thinker. Right. I learned through trial and error how to lead and manage people, and to, when you're responsible for operations, you have responsibilities around management and hiring and all these sorts of things. So it's really good training. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I think I combined this broad background, with kind of an entrepreneurial thinking.
Yeah.
And that was the key. But at the end of the day, the heart of what we do is we listen.
Yeah.
And I think we have that in common with people such as you that consult and work with clients. And we partner, frankly, a lot with folks that do that because we're both listening to what companies need.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm discerning based on what they're talking about. Sometimes they don't ask for the right thing.
Right.
They they can describe the result they want, but they don't necessarily know the skill set,
Yes.
or the pros and cons of hiring different kinds of talent to fill that need. And so it's discerning from what I hear, and it's going, okay, well, this is what they want to accomplish. So this is the talent that I would recommend in terms of skill set. But then, you also need to have competent, reliable, nice freelancers that are going to deliver.
Yes. Yes. And I, you know what? I really appreciate what you're saying because I think that is very similar to what I try to do with my clients is really, what is your vision? What are you trying to create? And what's the mission? What are you trying to change? And then let's create the team and really link that talent to that outcome. And yes, sometimes that means employees because that makes sense. Sometimes it means a very trusted consultant or freelancer. Sometimes it means a group to support that expertise that isn't yours. You literally don't know what you don't know. You kind of know you need it, but you don't know what it needs to look. And so I really love that because I think that's what gives business owners, especially when they're scaling really quickly, the flexibility they need to move and be nimble, and also the expertise they need to really move the needle effectively.
Totally agree. And I think confidence and trust is another thing.
Yes.
I mean, I when we talk to people that come our way, either referrals, from business consultants or just word of mouth, those sorts of things, they're getting guidance from someone. And to us, a really good referral is someone that is already thinking like the CEO of a business. It might be a $75,000 revenue business. It doesn't really matter. They're thinking about strategically about how they're going to grow that business. Yeah. And it's someone that values their time. Yeah. And I find that business consultants and advisors help business owners think through that and have confidence in making decisions. And that's a key factor because at the end of the day, choosing whether it's a full-time employee or a freelancer or how you're going to scale is really about, okay, how do I optimize my time? How do I invest my time in the right activities that are going to produce the results I want and find resources that can do that non-core work that doesn't generate value or revenue with clients. And those are strategic decisions that I think small business owners that haven't had the experience that you have, for example, or that I've had, make those decisions and move forward confidently.
Yeah. I think you hit on something there that's really important. And it's because it's one of the key spaces I think gets overlooked. And I built it into my own methodology because it's so critical. And it is the leadership. It is really being able to transition from being the founder who has the idea or has the process or has the expertise and builds and operates the thing to now elevating to being the chief executive officer, not the chief everything officer, to think remove yourself, take, several big steps back and think about what needs to happen in the business and work on the business and not on the tasks and the deliverables. That's tricky space.
It is. And it's funny you say that because we're really thinking about, how I love to write about this. At the end of the day, nothing inspires me more than having a conversation with a small business owner and helping them figure out how to break through a bottleneck, which is oftentimes themselves, as you just said, they're the chief doer. Yeah. And we're kind of thinking about two different kind of communication paths. One for someone that's already thinking like the CEO of the business. Yeah. How do they optimize their time?
Yes.
And then the other is kind of directed at the chief doers or the chief economizers.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of economizers are kind of doers because they are thinking about, oh, it's going to cost me something
Yes.
to outsource the work, but they're not thinking about the value of their time.
Yes.
And the time is not free.
No.
That every hour that you choose to spend on something, there's opportunity cost, whether you're investing it in something that generates value or you're, doing some sort of a task that is just operational and it's a cost to your business.
100%. You are, well, okay. So first of all, you're preaching to the converted. Second of all, I'm hearing angels sing. Second of all, you know what? I would also compound that by saying the opportunity cost, right? And also that thing that you're likely doing is a drain on your energy, creativity, innovation.
Sure.
And so I think there's a compounding cost because not only are you doing work that's taking up your time, and that's time that you're not selling, that's time that you're not creating, furthering your network, or you're not it's also sucking a lot of your really valuable energy.
That's so true.
You're doubling down on it.
Burnout.
I think you're right. It's a straight line to why so many founders do experience burnout and find themselves in a place where they're considering, do I just go back and get a job? Can I really do this? And then that has, a compounding factor on our confidence level.
Yeah.
Right? It fires up that inner critic voice.
No, I mean, people, choose to start a business because they want freedom. They're excited about it. And then they realize it's not easy. There's a lot of work.
I saw a meme not that long ago, and it said, I'm so glad I'm a small business owner because now I have the freedom to choose the 80 hours a week I get to work. Right? That's the point. That's now.
Well,
you're going to have to work. You got to hustle, especially in the early stages of your business. But smart CEOs find ways to build themselves out of a lot of the delivery and do the work they love to do. Like, why did you start the damn thing in the first place?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes, you hear a lot about this work-life balance. And I don't think it's that cut and dry. I mean, it's like when I think about my business, I love doing my business. I mean, I still outsource a lot of things that frankly freelancers are better at than I am. They're better at CRM systems, for example. They're better at, keeping data up to date than I am. I mean, there's so many things that it's really matching the job. And the funny thing about virtual assistants and outsourced talent is I think about taking the things you don't like to do and handing them to somebody that loves to do that. Like so many freelancers are doing what they love. So if you can match the work that needs to be done with someone that loves to do it, it's fulfilling for them and they're going to do a quality job, better job than you're going to do yourself because it's drudgery to you.
I think
it's a cool thing.
I honestly think that is exactly the case. Is that you can find people who are actually really talented and get joy and fulfillment from the work you don't want to do. And I will tell you, it is often when I actually start working with a new client, we get into things like vision, mission, values, behaviors. And what is it the work that you love to do as the founder? Yeah. What's the work that if you never did it again, you would die happy? And everybody kind of laughs. And I'm like, no, I'm absolutely serious. Because I have work that if I never do it again, I often joke that I probably shouldn't even have the passwords to my QuickBooks because I just go in there and make a mess. It's one of the very first things I outsourced because I recognized early that, first of all, I wasn't doing a very good job. I could never get the damn thing to balance at the end of the month. And second of all, it was just taking hours and hours and so much frustration and anxiety. And I thought, why am I doing this to myself? That was like 5 or 6 years ago, and I've never looked back. Now, you can find the right, trusted expert. This is Elizabeth's point, my friends. But like really doing an audit on your own time and also what's your team working on right now that actually you could get them doubling down on the things they're the best at and outsourcing some of the stuff that they're not. I bet you if you looked at your team today, if you're listening, you looked at your own work and your team today, there's 10 things at least.
Well, I think that's an excellent point. And it really, when I do a fair amount of public speaking on this topic, and I think about outsourcing in three ways. You can outsource to process.
Yes.
Because process is systemizing how you do things, so you don't do things. You do things consistently,
Yes.
and it's not unproductive kind of effort. So that is legitimate outsourcing
Yes.
to process. After that, you should outsource to tools, and I include AI.
100%.
In that, and you choose the best tools if you at least organize some of your processes, especially your core processes that drive value. And in my mind, only after that, process, tools, then you outsource to people. So when you talk about a team that somebody might already have, your people might be doing unmotivating work that they're not best at too, that process, tools, or outsourcing to different specialists can be the solution. So to me, it's really thinking in that order.
I love that.
When you're examining the work that you as a business owner are doing and your team is doing. Because I think some changes are probably in order that's going to make things better for everybody.
I really appreciate, and I don't know that I've ever thought about it quite that way, but yes, we just did some of that in our business. We really went deep on some process, some structure around how we are going to translate some of the podcast content into the rest of our social messaging. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything from social posts to newsletters and everything in between. We really created a system for that is actually enhancing our ability to translate messages just like this one today. Well, that's beautiful because we are maximizing our time and our effort by using a great process. And the tool, right?
Yeah, tool. Well, I was just going to say before you left, process is like a lot of people say, oh, I'm not a process person. But, first of all, there's freelancers that can do that for you. They love process.
Yeah.
AI can help you build processes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, nobody wants to build a business that they can't sell.
Yes.
And process is a business asset.
Yes.
So if you think about documenting your processes for your core processes, the one that delivers value to your clients, that's a business asset. So to me, process is sexy if you think about it that way. Not boring, not drudgery. Cool.
Yeah. No. Okay. See, now, like, major selling point for process. If you're listening and I would tell you, Elizabeth, that I wouldn't think about myself as a process person. And I have a husband who's an engineer. That's all they think it. Right. But I see the value in having a really well-built process that is built to suit. Maybe that's what I would say, right?
Yes.
It can't be someone else's necessarily. It's got to be the right process for your business, your team, and what you're trying to accomplish. Well, then it's a process that's meaningful.
Correct. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. See, look at me, non-process human getting excited about that. And then layer in the tools. I mean, AI is the new sexy one. Everybody's talking about it. But yeah, like that, if you can have the AI help you build the process, and then the AI can use the process, and then the humans can dial in along the way, that's real value.
And I think that's really smart use of AI. I mean, it's not a substitute for people because everybody can recognize it. And as you said, you want process that's custom to you, but you can use AI to do the legwork.
100%.
And say, have it build you a process and then you modify it. Yeah. And that's where human judgment and creativity comes in. And that's, to me, the best use is humans plus AI.
Yes, I agree. And I just got back from a conference that was quite heavily, AI was a very prevalent topic. And that's what resonated with me. Now, I learned some new stuff. I got some work to do. We're going to get some AI. I mean, we use it every day. We're going to get it more dialed in. But I heard over and over again, you have to have the right people because the AI needs inputs. The outputs need to be double checked. You need to give the AI constant feedback and information. And you have to have the right humans to do that. It makes it even more critical to have a
Mm,
people strategy that brings the right talent to the business, again, in the right way.
yes,
Yeah.
totally. I mean, if everybody asks AI the same question, they're all going to get the same output.
Right?
So you really need to have people thinking creatively about the prompts and
Yes.
how they're thinking through the output.
Yes.
Is it really suitable for what I'm trying to
Yes.
do?
Yes. Does this actually speak to our mission and our vision and our values and the behaviors? Like, again, it's got to come full circle. And the AI isn't going to know that if you're not constantly giving it that feedback that it needs to get better and better. Man, it can really accelerate things. But
Mm.
it can also be a big pile of garbage if you're not careful.
Well, that's what the AI slop term
Yes.
that's being
Yes. Yeah.
circulated. I mean, it's really true. I mean, it's so recognizable when, oh, that was written by AI.
Yeah.
You hear that all the time.
Yeah. 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 You really can. I love that. This process, like just thinking about the different steps, the systems, the tools, and then really layering the right people in.
Hmm.
I really appreciate that. I think that's so critical.
Yeah, thank you. Well, to me, people use the order kind of interchangeably, but I really think it's a very specific order, really, to get the most in
Yeah.
terms of outsourcing. It's process, tools, then people.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I want to ask you, how do you really identify some of these trusted consultants, these trusted experts that you bring in? Are there things specifically that you look for that perhaps our audience should be thinking about as well?
Very much so. I mean, probably the biggest thing that drives our business these days is I shifted from matching business owners with individual freelancers to matching business owners with freelance teams,
Yeah. Yeah.
preformed teams.
Yeah.
And that has been a game changer, because when I think about most solopreneurs and small employers that I speak to, they have such a wide variety of needs that
Right.
one person is not a unicorn.
No.
And so they might hire somebody, that a virtual assistant, or whatever, that can help them with a specific thing, say their email management.
Yeah.
But then they need help with their SEO, or they need help with their CRM. And that one person isn't necessarily skilled at that. And that one person probably has multiple clients and only has so many hours in the day. So I personally have gravitated to the team structure.
Yeah.
That's so key. But at the end of the day, I want to steer away from generalists, and
Yeah.
I want to steer more towards specialists, because while a business may be small and capital constrained and time constrained, well, big businesses are too. They just have more
Sure.
money and resources.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I believe that small businesses deserve to get the best possible talent
Yeah.
to help them achieve their goals.
Yeah.
And the way to get blue chip talent is by hiring blue chip freelancers
Yeah.
that want to work in a different way, but
Yeah.
they still have a high level of skills.
Yes.
So hiring, to me, it also boils down to trust. I mean, where you find people
Yes.
is they hire somebody based on what somebody they trust recommended,
Yes.
not necessarily somebody that knows the expertise that's required.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's like, oh, my neighbor who I trust
Yeah.
recommended, XYZ. Well, that's great, but it doesn't necessarily mean that person understands the nuances of your needs. So really getting clear on the skills that you need and the requirements to get you to the result you're trying to accomplish are key to picking people that are, as I say, confident, reliable, and nice.
I think that is such a great point. And I have said that to business owners. In fact, a client very recently that said, has team, but was talking about, I feel like I actually need almost a personal assistant, right? Cool. She runs several different lines of business inside her enterprise. She also has a very busy family. So she needs someone that could cross the lines, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. But we were talking about what would you get them to do? And I said to her, I think you need to be careful. You're starting to look for a unicorn. And unicorns are mythical creatures. They don't exist. If you have, right? If you have an assistant that says, oh, I can do that entire laundry list of things from managing your bank balance all the way through to graphic design and manage your CRM system, the chances are that they're either overestimating their skill set, flat out lying, or they're just not going to be able to deliver on that incredible variety of activities. We're better off trying to find experts that can manage different things differently, dividing up the tasks in a different. And so I love this team approach that you take. This is, I think, really critical.
Yeah. We've had that conversation with so many people.
So
many. I mean, I applaud people's resourcefulness and and people's I'll learn that. But I don't know a business owner that has a CRM that wants somebody learning that system.
No.
They want people that understand how to optimize that system.
Yes.
And so it's not something you learn on the job.
No.
And so it's better really to be thinking about, what are the buckets of work I need done, and finding, even if you're forming your own team, finding a couple of people that really have expertise and can help you, excel in those different areas.
Well, and I love this because honestly, I mean, this is where, it dovetails so beautifully. That is, in fact, the kind of work I do when we're talking about people strategy. What are the buckets of work, right?
Yeah.
And then, yes, do these need to be resourced through an employment situation, through a consultant, or through a team approach? I really love that. I think that's an added layer there that makes a lot of sense, where you can put those buckets together and say, listen, Elizabeth has teams pre-constructed that make sense in terms of how they can work together to help deliver this. I think that's next level, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
We tend to do a lot of, fairly robust work as a result of that.
Yes.
And what we've developed over time is a kind of a tiered approach. And our goal is to discover the overriding need of the client, to get them in the right level of support. And all of our freelancers are in the United States or Canada.
Yeah.
So they're very familiar with the business environment and the culture.
Yeah.
Which can be very important in higher level work.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, our structure is really to get people in the right bucket. That's the predominant need. Yeah. But then if they need something that's just basic email management, we do that too at a lower rate.
Yeah.
Or if they need something, all of a sudden their bookkeeper gets sick, they need some bookkeeping, they can do that too, all within the umbrella of the team. Yeah. So there's continuity across the resources.
See, and I
because
think
there is a management requirement if you're hiring a bunch of individual freelancers, there's a management role in organizing that work and supervising the people, and so a preformed team takes some of that management effort away.
Yeah. No, I really love that, and I think the point that I want to make to anyone that is listening is that it is, first and foremost, it's really critical to understand what is the work. Right? And getting very clear about, you called it buckets of work. That's exactly it. And then what is the right way to resource this so that you as the business owner are then enabled to do the work that's meaningful for you and fulfilling for you, but also helps you scale your business really effectively. And I think that's what we all want, is we want to be unleashed. And we build the business and we forget that there's all these bits and pieces, Elizabeth, that are going to weigh us down a little bit. So I love that. I love that messaging. I think that's so critical for the clients that I work with, is really, and then really understanding, how do I want to operate in all of this? How do I want to lead this work and my clients and my own life to some degree? So I love this message.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. People have a hard time kind of thinking about what I call core versus non-core work, and kind of making the trade-offs. And so, people say it's hard to figure out how I invest or spend my time. But when you think about it, people are really good at making lists.
Yeah.
and whether it's the grocery store or
Yeah.
errands or whatever it is. And it can be that simple,
Yeah.
really starting with what are the most important things. At the end of the day, we ended up building a little tool that we call the ROI of time calculator.
Love it.
And really the goal is to help people see the value of their time. And it's a very simple thing. I can send you the link to put in the show notes if you want. But it asks the question, what's an hour of your time worth? And it's
Yeah.
deliberately stated in a very vague way, because what do you think your time is worth?
Yes.
And nobody ever says $10, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And then we ask them, what is it that you basically do for a living? And not that we really care in terms of the ROI of time calculator, but I want people's mental frame to be the value that they're delivering to the market.
Yeah.
Not the tasks, but what's their business all about? And then we ask them how many hours a week they work. And then that we calculate the worth number times the hours. And that's what we say, that's what the time you're investing, the value of the time you're investing in your business. And then we go, okay, well, how many hours a week do you spend on admin, on invoicing and billing, customer service, content writing? And three or four other categories, big categories, social media marketing.
Yeah.
And they pick a number, and we basically end up showing them, okay, well, of the total hours you work, I mean, the average is 57% of people's time is spent on non-core work.
Yeah.
And so we actually show them that the hours that they spend on the non-core work times the value. We show them the opportunity cost. This is a dollar number that roughly represents that if you outsourced even some of those hours to someone else that could do that work better and at a lower rate, this is how you pay for it, because you free up time to do your core work or spend time with your family, which has value.
I love that. I mean, this concept, and it doesn't belong to me. Is this $20 an hour work, or is this $200 an hour work? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not mine, or from someone else, but like, what is the $200 an hour work that you actually need to be doing to grow your business? Yep. That's the work we want you to be doing. And then we need to examine, where does all the other work happen? And how do we resource that? What's the system to support how you get information and communication on it? Because I find sometimes that's the hard part. Well, if I'm not directly connected to it, am I going to know what's going on? We can build that. We can absolutely build that. Whatever way you decide to connect with the experts, we can build the communication channels. We can make sure that there's information flowing. But I really appreciate that. And yes, we'll include a link to that. We also have a little audit. It's in our high voltage hub, our library. Really examining as business owners, like, what are some of those pieces, right? Like getting really granular with some of them, because I think we sometimes don't realize, what are all the things? Oh, I forgot. I just do that. Yeah. Like, some of it's really unconscious, Elizabeth, I think.
Yeah. And frankly, I think sometimes doing that work is comfortable.
Oh, yes. That's a whole nother podcast.
And it can be scary to take that leap of faith and go, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to have somebody else do it for me. So I've got this time. Now I have to produce.
Yes.
And that's the kind of the no safety net thing. It's a little scary too.
It is a little scary. I often say to my clients, there's no training course, there's no rule book how to be a CEO of your small business. That's not it. And it's very uncomfortable going from a space where I am the founder, I am the expert, this is my IP, this is my life's work.
Yes.
To a space where I am now being asked to do a job that I know right? There's just no definition for me. That is the work in the messy middle that requires, support for you to become the CEO you want to be. And that is deeply uncomfortable. I think you totally nailed it. My friend, thank you. This has been a really interesting, enlightening conversation today. And I want to, where can people find you if they want to find out more about these beautiful teams that you put together?
They can come to our website, which is resultsresourcing.com or .net. So really just think about, we want to resource results.
Yeah.
We just name the company what we try to do.
Perfect.
And so there's that. And we do, I do a fair amount of public speaking, as I mentioned, on the subject. And so we have a YouTube channel, which has got all the recordings for the various talks that I've given. And of course, LinkedIn, that they can reach out to me that way.
Okay, perfect. And we'll make sure that these links are in the show notes. We'll make sure we have a link to your tool. We always put a link to our High Voltage Hub, where you can find a whole bunch of incredible resources and tools that are designed specifically for female founders. So we'll make sure all of that's in the show notes, so that if you're listening today, that you can find all of those things and really just start thinking about your business and your role a little bit differently. And isn't that exciting?
It is exciting.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for your time. It's just been so incredible to have you as a guest today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and the conversation lives up to the name of High Voltage.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear you say that.
There's wonderful opportunity for people that listen and apply some of the things we've talked about today.
I think so. I think there really is. Thanks again for all of that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Female Founder Unplugged. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with me on Instagram @HighVoltLeadership and send me your questions or let me know your biggest takeaway. Looking for more strategies on scaling your business, building a powerhouse team, or leading with confidence? Head over to highvoltageleadership.ca or follow me on LinkedIn for exclusive content, resources, and special offers just for listeners. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and remember, the real magic happens when you're unplugged.
This podcast is produced, mixed, and edited by Cardinal Studio. For more information about how to start your own podcast, please visit www.cardinalstudio.co or email Mike at mike@cardinalstudio.co. You can also find the details in the show notes.